Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of adventure. I know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you're here today sharing your greatest gifts, your time and energy, means the world to me. I hope you know that in this moment, just as you are loved and you are appreciated. Just who you are, okay? You don't do anything to prove yourself. You are worthy as you are. I hope you have been enjoying these past episodes of Gifts for My Child. They're probably the most vulnerable episodes that I've ever shared, maybe except for my 30th birthday episode. But otherwise, whew, it's like I reflect upon why. Why are they so vulnerable? Because for the most part, I'm just asking questions. But I think that there's a vulnerability of parenthood, of I don't know how to describe it. Of feeling silly. Is the questions I'm asking silly? Are they irrelevant? Am I letting her down? Should I have asked different questions? I think these are for a lot of us the insecurities we go through. Any of us who have a child in our life that we care for, whether it's our child or somebody else's child or da 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 da. So that being said, usually those most vulnerable moments are the ones that are the most important. And so we keep going. If you've listened to the past episodes, or if you haven't, I highly recommend you jump back. You should listen to the very first one with Adora and I. And you should listen to, if you can, the second episode as well, mainly because I give the background information on where did this intention come from? How did I select the people I interviewed? All of those kind of things, okay? So I'm not going to repeat that. Jump back, jump back, jump back. Yeah. Boom, boom. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the point here, Tom. Let's get serious. This is a podcast episode. Important people are listening. One thing I wanted to share is, so right now it's June. I'm recording this in June, the end of June. It's crazy how much stuff has happened since I did these interviews. Most of these interviews were done at the latest January 2020. Most were done though November-ish 2019. It's just like crazy. Some of the questions I just would have asked that I didn't ask, or that I asked, and it's just like, whew. So I guess that's a little bit of a disclaimer, an explanation, a flabbergastion of, if you're wondering, why didn't you ask some questions with all these current events going on? Why would you, or, hey, that's a weird question to ask. We already know the answer because blank happened. It lets you know that these were recorded way back when. So like one question to ask people is like, what advice would you share with a child being born in 2020? Little did I know. I mean, we were like 1 month into 2020. What hashtag 2020 had in store for us? But all that to say, it has been such a gift, such a pleasure, such a joy. Being a father is so much fun. That's been my biggest surprise, is how much fun it is being a dad. I'm gonna be totally transparent with that. And so that's enough of me rambling. Let's get into this episode where you're gonna hear from 4 people that mean a lot to me, that selfishly I want them to be a part of Jaima's life and for her to be a part of their life. So this is me roping them in, getting them to be a part of her life even before she was born, even before we knew anything about her other than these beautiful little pictures of her inside of Adora's tummy. And so, that being said, let's jump into this week's episode. Jasmine Starr, thank you so much for being a part of this. It honestly means the absolute world to me. Thank you.
I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to talk to Baby.
Yes. So let's start with that. Why don't you introduce yourself to Baby? And when you do, could you share your name and the story of your name, or what your name means to you?
So my name is Jasmine Starr. I'm a photographer and business strategist from Newport Beach, California. And I am lucky enough to have a twin sister, and her name is Bianca Flower. So my mom named us after flowers. I have another sister named Alexandria Lavender. So my mom said that she was going to raise women with a sweet fragrance of God. And so here we are with those names.
I love that. That's amazing. Well, let's start there then. If your mom had that intention, what role has God or prayer, or what would you like to share with Baby about bringing God's presence or God's fragrance into this world.
The one thing that I wish that I could tell baby is that even when it doesn't seem like it's the case, that God always wants the best. And that even when you think your plans are your ultimate desires, God ultimately knows what they're going to be at the end of the day, and to trust the process and not the circumstance.
I love that. So, you wear a shirt that I love that says, child of immigrant parents.
Yeah.
So my baby's, my wife, so my child's mother, she is an immigrant from Nigeria. And, they're coming to this world at a time where our president's trying to ban people from their mom's country, and a lot of negativity around immigrants and this messaging. And we're going to try to raise baby with pride and all of that. But sometimes that messaging might get through. So, in times like that where they doubt that message of the shirt, or maybe even feel a little bit ashamed of it, what would you like them to remember?
That this country was built on the back of immigrants, and there will always be a place for you to belong. Even if it feels like you have to go out of your way to find the belonging, there's always a space. And never to consider your space, your geographic location, or your place in the world as an unbelonging. You might have to work a little harder to find the spots of belonging, but once you find it, you will protect it and cherish it in a way that is as if it had just been there for you the entire time. You wouldn't have had the same capacity to love and cherish and protect it the way that you will ultimately in the future.
I love that. What would you like baby to consider of what's family? What's your definition of family for you?
Family are those who love you and accept you and forgive you and also embrace your flaws as well as your blessings and just take you for all of who you are. That's family.
So I could be wrong in this, but from things I've heard you say or just perceptions of our industry, there are times where I'm guessing you're one of the only in the room, and when it comes to identity. And I know baby is going to experience that as well. What would you share with them that maybe their dad can't, because it's not something I experience?
That there will be people who will judge you on your gender and on your color and on your education and on your culture and on your history. But you have to understand that being in the room is a privilege. That you're standing on somebody else's glass ceiling, and somebody else's glass ceiling became your floor. And your only job in that room is to speak your truth. Your only job in the room is to convince anybody that their predisposed notions of who you are or your sense of belonging is wrong. And you do that by being really, really good, really, really kind, and really, really humble, so that future generations will then stand on your glass ceiling and have that become their floor.
One of the things that I really appreciate about you is you really live the ethos of the power of relationships. What would you like to share with baby are some things you found along the way that are maybe the ingredients of a caring or loving relationship?
I feel like I spent the most of my life standing in the corners or in the background of rooms, and I always felt like it was a disadvantage. I was never the center of the room. I was never the funny person. I was never the person who got noticed. But it was in creating the conversations with those in the periphery, those on the outskirts, people who waited in dark corners. It was those conversations and relationships that had a profound impact on my business. Instead of me walking into a room and expecting a relationship to serve me, I look at relationships as how can I serve you? And those types of relationships are the long-term, those are the real ones, and those are the ones that have profound impact in how you grow personally and professionally.
I love that. I'm snapping over here.
Good. We got to make baby happy. We got to make baby proud.
What is maybe something unprompted? Is there anything on your heart that you want to speak to baby about?
In a changing demographic and world where life seems to be lived online, never forsake the quality of a long walk or sitting at the shore of an ocean or just having a quiet conversation with the people that you love. Your identity should never be something that's carved online, but your identity should be defined by the 5 to 10 people who are closest to you. And always, as you walk this path of life, never let anybody intimate or assume or tell you that you are not enough. You're placed on this world with a purpose, and your only objective in life is, number one, to find your purpose, and number two, to stand in your purpose, because that is the thing that God has put you on this earth to do. So don't back away from it. Step into it strong and step into it proud.
And what can baby turn to you for or about or to talk about? What can they turn to you for?
Well, I mean, the low-hanging fruit. If baby wants to start a business, have baby talk to me. I would like to see more people of color building out businesses. Yes and amen. But I think at the end of the day, my legacy, I hope and I pray, is that if baby wants to learn how to give more than receive, and if the baby wants to learn how to be empathetic with people who doubt them or talk negatively about them, I would love baby to pick up the phone, send me an email, a text message, or whatever the future technology may be. I hope that that's more of my legacy.
You had talked about purpose and legacy. With so many things coming at baby, what would you say, how if they feel like their compass, they can't find that north, or they're not sure what their purpose is or where to turn next? What would you share with them?
Do more. Do all the things. Do the things that light you up. Do the things that don't make sense. Do the things that don't make money. There will come a time where you will have to be responsible and get a job, and that's okay, and I wish you well as you do that. But your purpose doesn't necessarily have to be your revenue generator. Your purpose doesn't necessarily have to be your business. Your only objective is to try all of the things and see what lights you up. And if it empowers you to be inspired, and you are then empowered to inspire others, then you're one step closer to what it should be. And again, as a reminder, your passion and your purpose and your revenue generator don't always have to be the same thing. So to give yourself the permission to live two separate things, and if you could find a way to combine the two, well, then God bless you, but it's not necessary.
And so then my last question is, what's your invitation to baby? What would you like to invite them to do, to consider, to think about, to evolve into? What's your invitation?
My invitation to baby would be to walk into every room with your head held high, to listen more than you speak, and to give for more than you ask for, and to look at every single person in a room and know that they matter. And even the people who talk down or look negatively upon you, to look at them with empathy, because hurt people hurt people. So the one thing I want to share to baby, the thing that I invite you to learn, is that when you reach out to people at their ugliest and at their meanest, you can then hold the power to change their life and show them how different life could be if they open their minds to see things from a different perspective.
Amen. Well said. Thank you so much. There's a million more questions, but future times when you and baby can talk face to face and baby can ask on their own behalf, I look forward to those conversations.
I can't wait for those, Tom. Thank you for being an integral piece of the social curator community. Thank you for speaking your truth. Thank you for making hard decisions. Thank you for this podcast. And thank you for showing men, strong, amazing men, what it looks like to take a paternity leave in a digital business. You are a trendsetter and you are avant-garde, and I clap you up. Baby has a good daddy. Baby has a good daddy.
I appreciate. Oh, Mom's walking in. Mom, did you have any questions for Jasmine Star?
I think Jasmine Star is awesome.
Oh, here comes Mom.
Let me see Mama. Let me see Belly. Hi, Tom.
There's so much belly.
Oh my God, there's so much beautiful belly. All that life, girl. All that life.
Oh my goodness, yes. But it's so exciting to finally get to see you. Speaks many marvelous things about you. You've been so lovely to him. So we're grateful for all these kind of
congratulations. Thank you for bringing a beautiful human into the world. Yes, look at making it on Zoom. Yes. Yes. I love it.
Are you okay?
Yeah, she's here. So I'm going to go help her bring her stuff from the car.
Okay.
Including her baby.
Oh my goodness, so many babies. And I don't know if you saw, she just had hand surgery on Monday.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yes.
I mean, that timing, Tom, that timing.
Well, thank you, Jasmine. I can't wait for you and baby to meet and, all of the wonderful things that are going to take place. And thank you for that wonderful affirmation.
I appreciate you. Thank you. And please let me know when it's posted, because I'd love to hear it.
I will, definitely.
Mitch, I want to thank you so much for being a part of this and for being here. It really means a lot to me. Thank you.
You are so welcome.
So the way we're having everybody start is if you could introduce yourself to Baby and then share what your name means to you or a story about your name.
Sure. Okay. Well, hello, Baby. I don't know if you'll be a baby when you're listening to this, but hello. My name is Mitch Monico, and my given name is Michele. And I will tell you that my parents aptly named me with an Italian masculine name. I don't think they consciously knew they were doing that at the time, but they did. And so I've kept my birth name as my legal name. Usually people in America can't pronounce Michele, so I just go by Mitch or Mickey, just to, I guess, make it easier. But I still feel like the name that my parents gave me is the name that I was supposed to have.
That's wonderful. I don't know if I knew that backstory. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't think many people know that backstory, so, you know.
So for you, I want to start off with, for you, what does creativity look like in your life? You're someone who's always telling a story and using the power of creativity in such a wonderful way. So I just wanted to start there. What does creativity look like in your life?
Well, a lot of times it looks like it looks like a mess. That's what it looks like a lot of times. Creativity looks like a mess, a jumble. Maybe not. Maybe a mess is judgmental. Maybe a jumble is a good word. But I have a lot going on. People used to say I had a helicopter brain, that it was just always whirring. And I feel like that helicopter just kind of goes around on different levels. And what it looks like in a practical sense is that I get up every day and try to do at least one thing during the day that uses my creativity. A lot of times that involves writing, although not always. I feel that I have a lot of different ways that I express myself. Sometimes it's visual, sometimes it's writing. Sometimes in my brain I play like air guitar because I'm really good at that. No, I have a, obviously, like so many of us who don't have real music talent, we wish. But yeah, so I think in a practical level, creativity for me is a way to put some of myself into the world. I'm a shy person. I don't even want to say by nature. Lately I feel like I've been a shy person. And that's one way that I can share myself with the world. Yeah. And also in a way that I feel like is giving back to the world, because I do feel like the world gives me a lot every day. And that includes the animals in it and the sky and the breeze and so much. I mean, I try to observe it all, and that's part of my creativity is observation. That's a big part of it, actually.
I love that. It seems at least from the times I've had the chance to interview you about your projects, that storytelling to you seems to be very intentional in the stories that you use your, what I think is really powerful creativity and geniusness to elevate. Can you talk a little bit about that? Or if I'm wrong, you can say, as you'll find out, your dad's often wrong. You're wrong. But if I...
Well, I feel like I should just say that anyway, because, every kid understands that.
That'll get you some nice cool
Definitely,
points for sure.
Your dad is often wrong. I'm just going to put it out there. I mean, occasionally. I didn't mean often. Or maybe I did. Oh, yeah. And you know what? That actually gives me the perfect opportunity to let baby know that being wrong is okay. It is just okay, and it's how we learn. And a lot of times we expect ourselves to know everything before we could reasonably know it. And even sometimes after we could reasonably know it, we don't know it. We just don't. And it's okay. It's okay to be wrong because it means you're trying. And trying, to me, is a success. Yeah.
I love that. So this is like a question within a question. So it's okay to be wrong. And then...
Yeah. And then how does my creativity elevate? Or how do I use my creativity to elevate? When I write, I would love to tell you that I intentionally elevate anything, but a lot of it comes from my subconscious. And so what I try to do is to use the gift that I have to put something into the world that will benefit the world. And in that respect, I feel that my unconscious helps me elevate whatever I'm doing. So if it's a story about this, detective solving a mystery, is it really not? I mean, that's what's on the surface, but what is his soul doing? What is he trying to accomplish? And how can his journey help other people who are on the same path? So yeah, whatever I do, I really do try to think about it in terms of theme and what it's putting out into the world.
And so you're also a published author.
I am, yes.
And particularly, I wanted you to talk about, your book is about people who disagree on really powerful, really core things, not just disagree about their favorite color.
Right.
Why is it important to still stay in relationship or have a conversation with somebody that you might deeply disagree with?
Yes. So baby, you may disagree with your father on any number of things, including, as my book is about, politics, but not limited to. But for me, I do disagree with members of my family about politics, and it was important for me to create something that would help me communicate with them better. So I did make this workbook, and I feel that for me, I need to challenge myself to remain open to hearing other points of view, that's important for my soul's growth in the greater scheme of things, and also that I need my family. I want my family in my life, and I don't believe it is my. I don't believe trying to change them. I just don't think that's. I don't want to say that's not my job. I think that my job is to be an example in the world and to live my life true to my own values. And I also feel at the same time that can coexist with disagreeing with my family about politics. And it's important that it does, because there are multiple sides, multiple angles that everybody can look at the world, and it's important to hear others. And I feel like I want to say something more to baby than it's important, because that feels a little bit like a cop-out. But I just feel like for our souls to grow and for humanity to grow, we need to be able to hear to really listen to people. And that goes back to part of what the observation that I do in the world. It's not, it may be a bird today, but tomorrow it may be a person who randomly started talking to me. And what can I get from that? What can I give to that? It's a challenge. I will not tell you it's not a challenge, baby, if you disagree with your parents about politics. It's a challenge, but it's a worthy fight.
I think I'm going to go a little off script. I think it helps, at least in our interview, I felt it helps to give credence that, like, you have skin in the game, like my child's going to have skin in the game. And I say that in the fact that, for example, just this weekend at the time of this recording, Trump just put out a banning Nigerians from different things. Some has to do with travel. A lot of it has to do with naturalization, a lot of different things. So, Trump is specifically targeting my baby's nationality. I don't know what religion they're going to choose, but if they choose Islam will at least be a part of their life. It targets that. So, it's not abstract, like, oh, I disagree on their policy of blah, blah, blah. At the same time, there are people that are actually a part of this project we're doing right now who have expressed their love for baby, who will probably vote for Trump. Yeah. So I know you have it. It's up to you how specific you want to speak to. I know that you have situations where things that are being decided in policy affect you as well, but you're still willing to come to the table with people you love. You know what I'm saying? Do you mind talking a little bit?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, okay, go for it.
Specifically, being transgender and putting and having those policies greatly affect my life, and knowing that some members of my family disregarded that, or in their minds they convinced themselves that he was for the LGBTQI, etc. community. I'm not, I'm not convinced they actually believe that, although maybe they did. They wanted to. So that has been difficult, and I feel like, yes, when policies directly impact your life, it's even more of a challenge. Climate change is going to, and the policies of that are going to certainly affect baby. And, I don't even, that's going to affect all of us, but certainly baby more than us because of, the time in which baby is born. So, and I've talked to my family about these issues, and it's hard. It's hard to disagree when you feel like you're right. I mean, honestly. And even if on some of those issues, my family will say, you know what, you're right, but these other things are enough to make me still vote this way. It's interesting. I've learned a little bit about my family through the workbook, specifically about my mother, just from doing, because I did the entire workbook with her. And I feel like, yes, it's important to have these conversations because at the very least, she understands directly from me how it's impacting me. So that can be very powerful. It can be very powerful when your own child, because, no matter what it feels like to other kids, your parents I know that I won't speak to all parents, but Tom and Adora, I know that you are always going to love your child, and that's going to come first.
I guess too, and I appreciate the courage and vulnerability that you're sharing. What makes you feel like, I guess for baby, why is it, do you think, worth it to, because you very well could be, in my opinion, right, and just saying like, well, screw y'all, when you put in the work, then we'll talk. But that you not only go through the work, but you wrote a book and created a workbook for people to have these conversations, which baby will definitely read and write a book report about and send it to you.
I love it.
But I guess, the starting point, why do you think it's even worth caring, or the energy, or, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think for me, there's some part of feeling like, okay, I was born to these parents for a reason. I don't know the bigger reason, but I feel like we owe it to each other to try and get closer to each other rather than going further away. And particularly after the 2016 election, I felt like, wow, I mean, I didn't speak to my family for weeks after that. Even when I came out as transgender, there were conversations, it felt very odd to me. And I thought, I don't want to get used to this. This is not helpful to the universe to say, well, forget you, I don't agree, so I'm out. I just felt like for my soul's work that I have to continue engaging. And yeah. And I'm not even sure about that on a religious level. I don't even know what I believe. I just feel there's some instinctual pull for me to want to work on my soul's journey, such as it is. And it's very ambiguous. I don't even know what it is, but I guess maybe that's okay for baby to hear that, like, the soul's journey is often, unknown. Yeah.
I like that. That was really beautiful. That was really awesome. Thank you, Mitch.
Yeah.
Is there anything on your heart you'd like to speak to or share with baby that's unprompted, just something that you feel called to share?
There is, actually, and I'm going to have to move a little bit to get to it. I just, sometimes when I write or I read, I will make notes in my, to myself, so that I remember, like, okay, I want to go back and I want to look at this page in this book. And I was looking down at these notes that I had, and I thought, oh my God, that's kind of like a little haiku. And it plays better if you see it, but I'm going to read it anyway. And it's just, in the end, order, every once in a while, life. And I thought, that's a haiku almost. But yeah, so that's what I want to share, and make of that what you will. In the end, order, every once in a while, life. So those are random words from a random book that I was randomly reading that I thought felt very profound for some reason.
Well, I appreciate that.
I guess I thought it had to do something with, like, when you're dead, whatever happens is ordered, you know, and everything else in the meanwhile is life.
I love that. One of those things you can just meditate on and ponder.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. When you get to that place where you want to meditate on something, that might be a good one.
So,
and welcome to this world, too. I want to say welcome to this world when you arrive. Because it is one thing I noticed while watching my nieces and nephew is that it was such a powerful experience to watch them go through things the first time and realize that we all did that. And it was super cool to watch.
So my next one for you is a prompt.
Okay.
Baby, you can turn to me when you need, if you'd like to talk about, if you're curious about.
Oh, yes, baby, you can turn to me and talk to me about anything you need to, but specifically if you're having issues of gender identity, you can certainly come and talk to me about that. But I am also open to talking about anything. I find that I get as much as I give, and I hope that if you ever do feel like you need to talk to someone and you don't feel like there's anyone around who you can talk to, please come talk to me.
Well, that means a lot to me. I'm glad that you offered that. Last one for you. Sure. What is your invitation for baby? What would you like to invite them to do, to consider, to think about? What is your invitation?
I think that, let's see. I think I would invite baby to define for yourself what risk-taking is in the world, what feels just out of your comfort zone. Try to remember what it was like to learn to walk. And if you don't remember, by the time you're listening to this, watch another baby learning to walk. And then take those risks. And remember, you're going to fall down sometimes.
I love this. You should consider being a writer.
I'm going to keep thinking about that. I am writing a mystery right now. I'm revising it. So, yes, it's in there. Not that phrase, but but all of me is in there. All of me is in there. That's for sure.
Well, thank you so much, Mitch. It means the world to me that you're a part of my child's life and that they can call upon you as a member of their community. So thank you.
Definitely. Please give your best to Adora. Give my best to Adora and tell her that not only do I hope that her wrist feels better, which it will, but that her birthing is a smooth and wonderful and beautiful process. And I will be thinking of you both and can't wait. I'm very excited for you.
Thank you. I will, and I can't wait for you to meet each other.
Yay! I can't wait to meet you, baby. All right.
Well, thank you, Mitch.
Anything else? Yeah, if you think of anything else, let me know.
I will. And looking forward to us all hanging out soon.
Definitely. All right. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Assalamu alaikum, my friend. How are you?
Salam. I'm great. How are you?
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here with us. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to be here.
So here's how we want to start. I want you to introduce yourself to my beautiful child.
Okay.
And share with them, what your name means to you.
Okay. Hey, baby. My name is Intisar Seraaj. Well, Intisar Janan Seraaj. My first name, Intisar, means victory with the help of God, because that's the only way we're going to be victorious. My middle name, Janan, means river of paradise. It comes from the root word Jannah, which means heaven. And my last name means knowledge, which is something that you'll see that we're continuously striving to do. We're always going to be striving to learn. Education is a privilege and an honor, and do not take it for granted. More about me. I am a journalist or digital storyteller. So I tell people stories on various mediums. So if you want to watch a video, if you want to hear it on audio or podcast, whatever, or if you want to see it in writing, I'm your girl. And hopefully one day I'll be telling your story and the story of your parents.
I love that. What have you tell stories and of people that you don't always like, right? Or that you might on face value not always think, I want to know this person's story, right? Have times like that happened to you?
Mm-hmm.
What have you learned from doing interviews specifically in that instance?
So of that instance, I'm actually working on a project like that right now. But I think that when you do something like that, when you're like interviewing or trying to tell a story of someone you don't particularly like, but in a way that it's like, oh, okay, I wouldn't really hang out with you as a friend. But honestly, there is something beautiful about everyone, even the worst person. They're like, everyone is not a complete 1000% monster, or like we're not the worst thing that we've done. And there's something beautiful about everyone. And if you can hold on to that, then you can hold on to the light. And that's something you should also practice in seeing. If you get angry with someone, think about something that you love about them, and try to move on and forgive them. And just know that they're still a good person deep down and that they have light.
What about baby's own personal story? What should they keep in mind about their story?
Keeping in mind about your story, well, as Maya Angelou once told us all, that we will not always remember what we did for people, or people will remember what we did for them, but they will remember how we made them feel. So for your personal story, focus on doing for others and being kind to others and how you're making people feel. But of course, don't let that inhibit, you living your life, because we can't always make everyone happy. So I guess even with that feeling, turn that around and also make sure that your life is full of happiness, no matter how you want to live it, no matter what kind of details you fill in your story with. Make sure that the underlying tone of your story is happiness.
I love that. So I don't know my child's name yet. Adora gets to pick the first name. I get to make a suggestion for the middle name. And because the thing is, I picked the last name, so that's why she gets to pick the other two. But I know it's going to be a beautiful, culturally rich name, yes, and one that they are going to probably have a interesting relationship with their whole life because of white supremacy. So tell me about growing up with the same thing, beautifully rich name that has so much deep meaning, but white people. You know what I'm saying?
Always make people learn to pronounce your name. People might want to say, oh, do you have a nickname? Yes, I do. And I share those with that nickname with those closest to me. But when I initially meet someone, I always make them learn how to pronounce my name. And honest God, I'm sure your name is not going to be that hard. Like, no name is really that hard. It's just practice and like not having a lazy tongue. And growing up with a name like mine, it's like everyone honestly like loves it. So honor yourself by making people learn how to pronounce your name, because even when they like, or I guess say older people, like more mature people, when you get older, you'll see in spaces that people really adore your name. Adore. Okay. And but when you're younger, your peers might be confused, but that's just, you know, how some young people can be. So just ignore those and know that you have a fantastic name, and some people might just be jealous. Um, you might get some people that might try to make some kind of fun out of your name, but just go, and what does your name mean? And they'll probably have nothing. Nothing. So hold on to that.
Was there a certain stage where did you always love being Intisar, or was there a certain time where you then started to embrace it? Can you talk a little bit about that?
I've always loved being Intisar, but especially when I was around a group of people that loved me, especially like in the theater, because of course, when I was 8, I got involved in theater, and you know, in theater, everyone wants everything to be dramatic and beautiful and interesting and whatnot. So just having a name like Intisar made me stand out. So having a different name makes you stand out, you know, in a beautiful way. Yeah, and everyone wants to whisper my name or yell my name or make little funny things with my name, like my nickname is Inti, so they'll be like, Inti ways, that's interesting. Let's, you know, things like that. But it's all in good fun and cute. So I've always loved my name, but especially appreciated it when I got into theater and around people that really do love me. And so they take care to say my name, because my parents, you know, put a lot of effort into that. And that's honoring me and honoring my family by being polite and learning my name, learning how to pronounce it.
What does Islam mean to you? What would you like baby to know about Islam?
Islam is peace and freedom, mental freedom, emotional freedom, spiritual freedom, and peace on all those levels as well. And Islam, know that it is yours. It is your journey, no one else's. You don't have to answer to anyone but yourself and Allah. And, you know, you learn it for yourself and find what you love about it, and you latch onto that and hold it dear. And so Islam to me, you know, I have to answer this question actually for another thing for some social media projects, but yeah, I would just say it means having peace and freedom. Like, I just like know in my mind certain things to be true because of the teachings of Islam, and I have a higher respect for myself, and other people have higher respect for myself and for me, because they know, like, oh, she follows Islam and she has like these standards, and like there's already these boundaries set in place for people to not disrespect me, you know, because it just comes with the territory. So it means freedom, respect, and peace to me.
I love that. So we are, of course, our baby's going to grow up in an interfaith household. Mm-hmm. And even at that, baby can go off and choose to be atheist or anything baby so aspires to be. It's more the morals and the values that we're looking for.
Right.
Let's say they identify as Muslim. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in a similar situation to you in a couple respects. One, their parents are converts, and that they're going to be a Black Muslim. And so there are certain politics that come with both things, especially when people ask you, like, are you a convert? Specifically when they ask Black Muslims that. So do you think you could kind of like, maybe let's say a baby's listening to this at 13, they're feeling their Black Muslimness, they're loving it, and people keep asking them that, or they keep experiencing microaggressions in the masjid. Do you think could they be someone that you could talk to Could you share a little bit what you'd like to share with them if they come across that?
First off, please know that you can talk to me about anything. But especially this, when people say something to you, not acting like Islam is your right, you remind them that it is your right, because before our ancestors were brought over on the transatlantic slave trade, we were Muslim, most of us, if not practicing like our indigenous cultures, or, you know, those types of like more village religions and spirituality. So it's your right. Okay. This is like who you're supposed to be. Even if you choose not to follow Islam in the end, I mean, still take the practices or take some of the beliefs. Like you can take beautiful ideals from any philosophies or any religions, Buddhism, whatever it is, because there's something great about, I'll say most religions, you know, stay away from cults, please. At least do that for us. So, but there's something you can take beautiful from every religion. So, but know that it is your freaking right. Okay. Like, it's yours. And Islam belongs to everyone. You can tell them that too. It doesn't matter what gender, sexuality, what nationality, what race, made up thing, you know, what ethnicity, whatever you are, like, it's for everybody. Yeah.
I love that. I think that should be like, if they're like, someone asks years later, what was your dad's advice about religion? They're like, his advice was just stay away from cults. Like,
yeah.
Like, I think that's a good way to like summarize your religious advice to children. Stay away from cults.
Yeah. Whatever you do. Yes.
So we are going to work very hard to raise our children, our child, to love their Black self and everything about that. And we know that society is going to always be pushing against that. Mm-hmm. So, you know, kind of as a auntie, helping us to have our child feel that Black pride, you know, what would you like to share with them? Any advice as they're growing up and learning to love themselves despite what society might be telling them?
First off, the question was how they can love their Black selves, but love your entire self of all the DNA that you have. It's okay. You are you. That is perfection, and love it all, lean into it all. But for your Black side, coming from like a certain school of thought, I guess, a lot of people will say that Black people are the original man, right? Like the oldest human remains being found in Ethiopia and, you know, the African continent. So know that your history is rich, literally from the deepest, like, depths of the earth and from ancient history. Like, you are meant to be here and you are it. Okay? You're amazing. You're the original, the standard. And just look at society, like how everyone loves our culture and is always trying to emulate us, wanting to be us, because you're the stuff. All right? Yeah.
Thank you for that. So one thing that you and I do a lot when we're together is laugh and have a good time. So what is you know, baby's gonna be is being born into an interesting time. Yeah. What would you like to talk about? Self-care, any you know, the good times, anything like that, any reminder around that area that you'd like to share with baby?
About like how to stay sane in this time?
Exactly.
Like you said, we do a lot of laughing. So baby, I would say laughter is the best medicine, as a lot of people know. So do whatever makes you happy. If that's reading, if that's running or walking, if that's swimming, like do something to get the energy in your body going, you know, and your mind staying positive. It enclose yourself around people that love you and that wish you the best and that are also spiritual beings, no matter what faiths they are, but you know, that have some wisdoms. And know when you are out of it, take a moment to be silent and just observe and collect some wisdom from others and listen to your ancestors and your elders and the spirits, you know, that are surrounding you and want the best for you and love you, and take a cue from them and just listen. Be patient. Yeah, soak up that good energy and the positive vibes, because there's people, as you can see, around the globe, around the nation, loving you already before you're even born. Yeah, so just do you, and don't let anyone make you feel bad for how you practice self-care, whether that's going to buy yourself something nice. Please don't turn into like a shopping addict though. Like everything in moderation, okay? You can take a spa day, whatever you want to do. Just love on yourself. And so I can't really give you specific advice on what to do, because you have to learn yourself eventually and learn what makes you happy. And that will carry on into like help you with all your relationships, because you can only be happy in a relationship when you know what makes you happy already. Like you can't lean on anyone else to make you happy. You got to do that. So I wish you all the best of luck with finding what makes you happy, and I'm here to support it, whatever it is.
And speaking of that, the prompt is, baby, you can always turn to me if you need, or when you need, or if you'd like to talk about, or when can baby come to you?
Baby, you can come to me for literally anything, but know that I specialize. If you need any cooking help, although I know your mom got me beat, but you know, hey, when you want to try something different, come to me. And you can always come to me for if you ever feel afraid, especially like public speaking or some type of like thing where you have to get out and be outside of yourself and like take your energy to another level. Although your dad would be really great at that too. But if you know how we kids can be, don't want to always talk to our parents. So, you know, when you need some outside help, come to me. You can come to me. Ooh, when you need fashion advice, okay, honey, I will style you up. You can come to me when you need a hug. I love hugs. You can come to me when you need a vacation. We will fly you out, get you away from your parents, okay? And yeah, you can come to me talking about any issues like Islam or Black issues or pop culture or anything, literally. I'm so open. That's what you'll find out about me. Like, come to me. Yeah, and I'm going to listen.
And the last one is, what's your invitation to baby? What would you like to invite them to consider, to think about, to do, to question, to evolve into, to go for? What's your invitation?
Ooh, baby, I invite you to learn yourself. And I challenge you to write something down, like start chronicling your life. Like how we talked about, you know, your story. This is how you put it together. You with bit by bit, piece by piece. It can be a sentence every day. It does not have to be a long thing, but something that you can remember the day, you know, from, or something that you've learned about yourself, or something that you're grateful for, or something that you see that you love about the world, or your parents, or your family and friends, whatever it is. Just at least a sentence a day. So you can, you know, have these memories and look back and be nurturing yourself and learning yourself. I invite you to learn yourself.
Thank you so much, Intisar. I appreciate this so much.
Thanks. I'm sorry. part of it.
I feel like we should close with a dua. Do you want to make a dua?
Yes. Can I just like go off rip, or should I do something traditional?
Yeah, go off the dome. Let's do it.
Okay. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yeah, Allah, please bless Tom and Adora's baby to be a blessing on this world, to be a blessing to their parents, to be a blessing to their future family and their ancestors. Let this baby be the prayers answered of our ancestors. Lift this baby up into heights, admit this baby into Jannah. Let their life be full of light and love and peace and blessings, and let them have happiness and ease and much breathing and enjoyment. And please keep them safe throughout all stages of their life, and let them learn and stay humble, but have fierce confidence in knowing that they are very loved from every corner of this earth, and that they have all the wisdom to draw from anywhere they could possibly want. And just let them be at peace when they enter this world. Let them have health throughout every stage of their life, and always remind them that they are loved no matter what difficulty they are going through. Ameen,
inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Intisar.
You're welcome.
All right. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
No problem.
Vivi, just want to thank you so much for being a part of this. You know, you're really important to Adora and I, and have always been there for us. You were the official, unofficial master of ceremonies for our wedding. So, just want to thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So I'd love for you to start by sharing your name and the story of your name, or what your name means to you.
Okay. My name is Vivi. Surname is Devereaux. Vivi, initially, according to my mother, started out as a nickname. And it's a nickname that ended up sticking. And in South Africa, there was a bit of delay in getting my birth certificate officially registered and all of that. So Vivi ended up being my official name on my birth certificate, as well as my second name, which is Tosa as well. So Vivi is Latin, and it means alive or living. So that's how that came to be. Bit of a sickly child growing up, so it was a bit of an oxymoron at times, but resilience is incredible, and that's what that means, alive and living. Incidentally, also the girl's name.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind sharing, tell me a little bit about, where you grew up, what life was like for you, anything you can share with baby in terms of your origin story.
So born in South Africa in the Eastern Cape to an extremely determined mother and highly intellectual father. They didn't stay together very long, and I spent the vast majority of my life bouncing around from place to place as my parents then moved a lot. Growing up was interesting. We had quite a few struggles to overcome in terms of staying together as a family unit that was cohesive, and also being able to find one's own identity in terms of who I believed I was and what I wanted to achieve the world, and that I knew that I wanted to make a difference in some way. I just hadn't found my path yet. So there were times when we were in dire straits, just wondering, okay, how are we going to make it to the very next day? But somehow through family, a lot of prayer, and just resilience, we managed to pull through. And it was those attributes which have enabled us to survive so much over the years. So grateful for that. Growing up, I was an adventurous kid, but a very quiet kid after a period of time. I always kept to myself, but at the same time was always quite adventurous. I was the kid falling out of trees, sliding skateboards under cars, crashing bikes and coming home with just all manner of injuries, to which my mother would go, I don't know what to do with you anymore. She'd patch me up and off I'd go again. So it was a fun experience. Growing up, we were outside kids. There wasn't much in the way of technology to distract us. I mean, you had TV to watch your afternoon cartoons, I suppose, but we were always outside and exploring what the world had to offer, to which I'm grateful for. As one became a young adult, that's usually a bit of a more difficult time, trying to find one's identity and the way you want to leave your mark in the world. So that's when I was thinking, okay, I want to pursue a career in business. I had geared my entire childhood education to that because I find intellectual matters very, very interesting. But it was the arts that came calling, and that's the call I decided to answer after a lot of thought and introspection. And I can now safely say, decades later, gosh, we're getting old. Here we are.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. What I've seen as an observer is that I don't know the right word for it, but pursuing your dreams of, first of all, moving to LA and all of that goes into that, building a community and, building this successful career that you have as an actor. It doesn't seem like it's for the faint of heart. Can you talk a little bit about where you find that inner power mentally, physically, spiritually? Any advice you want to share with Baby or insights about that?
Absolutely. Well, Baby, you are incredibly loved by everyone who's going to be listening to this, contributing to this, and the world at large, because you have a lot to offer. One thing that was told to me when I was extremely young, I remember my parents, my mother had remarried, and we were with my stepfather and my brother at the time. We were heading off to this church, which I promise you, to me as a kid growing up, it seemed to be in the middle of nowhere. Quick story, we were driving through a sugarcane field where there are no lights. It's completely dark. I'm looking outside. I can't see anything, and we're driving for what seems like forever. We finally get to this little church, which was in the middle of nowhere. And South Africa in the late 90s was an interesting place to be. There were still a few tensions between people, but these were beginning to dissolve. And the reason why I mentioned this is because when we stepped into this church, it was just this incredible mix of people from different cultures and backgrounds, and it was a full-on melting pot. And as a child who was, I think, barely 11 at the time, I walked in with my eyes as big as saucers going, oh my. And we were allowed to just, run riots, and because we were kids, so we were allowed a lot of freedom. At one point, I remember a lady with crazy frizzy blonde hair, deep blue eyes. She comes up to my stepfather and asks, excuse me, is this your son? And I recall the look my parents gave each other. It was a bit nervous, actually. And they looked at each other, and then he nodded, yes, it is mine. And she said words that I have never forgotten and remembered to this day, and they were, look after him, for he is destined for greatness. Now, during the course of growing up, you lose track of all of these things. You're a child, you forget, you run around, you grow up, and you live life. But there comes a time when you are confronted with a choice, where you have to choose something that matters to you. And for me, it became the crux of, do I choose to become an artist? Do I choose to become an actor? And why do I want to do so? Those words came to me when I was in India in a crisis, trying to understand what I was doing with my life. And in that watershed moment, I finally realized what all of these little meetings that I'd been having as a child and all these things that had stood out to me, what they finally meant and why they were said to me. I remember collapsing in a heap of tears, just so grateful to actually finally have an inkling as to why. Didn't know how, but why. So what keeps me going? What gives me the strength to day after day after day get up in the morning, feel the gratitude of being here, being in this country, of being surrounded by an amazing community, is because I do it for family. I do it to inspire those who, perhaps as me, have a dream that seems impossible to reach, but you can create your future. You can create your destiny. And every so often, you get a chance to do something incredible. It doesn't matter how big or how small, you can leave a mark in the world for the better. And to me, having the dreams that I have and the goals that I have, I want to leave the world a better place. I want to leave a legacy of excellence so that those who think that they can't, think that it's impossible, only need to look to others who have led the way so they can forge their own path and know it can be done.
I love that. I've never had the pleasure, the opportunity of hearing that story. That's amazing.
Right, I don't actually tell it very much. I don't even think a daughter knows that story. So, baby, you've got a leg up on mum right there. You can tell it to her when she forgets.
Speaking of, I hear her in the other room, so I might have to edit this out because I didn't tell her I was gonna loop her in.
Yeah, it's all right. I didn't hear.
My love, I have Vivi on the phone. I'm interviewing him for the podcast for our baby. No. Adora fell and broke her wrist.
Oh, no.
Her right wrist, so no writing screenplays right now for her. But she's okay. Baby's good, alhamdulillah.
Okay.
But look,
yes.
my love, can I open the door? Do you want to ask Vivi a question? For the... Nothing?
I'm happy for you to ask.
Everyone, I ask everyone a little bit different questions. You don't have a single one?
I don't know. I'll have questions after the baby's born, but for now, I don't know. What make you way as an African in America?
What is it? Okay, she wants to know, how do you make your way as an African in America? And and if I can add to that, in the context of American culture as a black man in America.
Right. Okay. That's an interesting one because I actually find myself a bit perplexed by black culture in terms of the American essence of it, where even I am learning just constantly what things mean, how they mean. I mean, we all have a common thread as, black people who have a common ancestry, but there are nuances in culture that I'm still trying to figure out and understand. It brings me great joy when I finally understand something. That's what that means. It's taken me years to figure that out. But navigating Los Angeles as a person of color has been fairly fascinating to me. Due to my stature, I'm able to walk into a room and pretty much command presence and be completely at ease with what I need to do. I haven't had any issues. I haven't had any moments where I felt unsafe or prejudiced in any way. So that's been a good thing. But that being said, how do I navigate it? I know who I am inside as a core human being. And when I look for what I look for when other people is a sincerity and a level of truth that we can connect on. That way, it doesn't matter who you are, where you come from, you and I can connect on a level where we aren't being caught up by the nonsense of superficiality that this city can give you. That's what I navigate this city in doing. If you are a genuine person, you know who you are, you know what you want, and you believe that you're going somewhere, even if it's small steps to creating your own little future, or big steps, we want to change the world. I can connect with that. You are a truthful person. You are a sincere person, not caught up by all the superficial nonsense. I can talk to you regardless of where you are.
Well, I appreciate that reflection. That's a good question from Adora. And thank you, Adora, if you're listening to this replay. Thank you for letting me put you on the spot like that. I think that was a fun behind the scenes. Follow-up question for you, Vivi. I know we're going a couple of minutes over, if that's okay with you.
No, that's
so kind of
okay. All the time in the world.
Okay, so kind of combining those two things we talked about, this dream of being an actor, and then that question Adora proposed. You know, when you see something like the Oscar nominations that came out this year, being so, once again, Oscars so white. What comes up for you, or how do you maintain your focus on the big dreams you have, and you know, anything you can speak to about that's, you know, just such very visible racism in an industry that, you know, you're in and striving for greatness in?
I think for me it comes down to a level of excellence, and also trying to realize what it is that you're doing something for. The awards are nice, the money is nice, and so on and so forth. A friend asked me, why do I want to be 007? And I thought about it, and I said, it's not really the money. I mean, frankly, I would do the role for free. It's not the fame that comes attached to it. It's none of that. It's the fact that when I was 13 years old, on my 13th birthday, waiting for my mother to say, yes, you can finally have some cake, I was watching Moonraker with Roger Moore, I believe, and I looked at him, and I was wearing my birthday watch, all proud, and I'm like, this is the coolest man on earth right now. Watching him and just looking at him, and it didn't matter that he was Sir Roger Moore, may he rest in peace. It didn't matter that he was just this, you know, the superstar. I looked at him and I said, this is the coolest man on earth. I wish I could be like that. Fast forward many years later, sure, having recognition for your work and having the Oscar, you know, to acknowledge that is an incredible thing. Let's not discount that. It takes a lot of work, and the people who achieve these dreams and accolades are incredibly talented. But that's not the be-all and end-all. I would rather not win one, and yet be on screen in that role and have someone's life change for the better. That, to me, is what is worth it. And we get there by excellence. We get there by every single day striving to be the best that we can be, through work ethic, through integrity, through drive, persistence. That's how we get there. The accolades are nice, but they can't be the be-all and end-all. Now, that's my personal opinion. Should things shift? Should there be more recognition of people of color who are working very, very hard behind the scenes, in front of the camera, all manner of ways to make this a better industry? Absolutely. Is it tragic? Possibly. Personally, am I affected by it? No, not yet, because I know that every single day, tomorrow, award or not, I know what I'm going for. I know where my integrity lies. And if you keep telling the truth every single day in your life, on screen, as an artist, whatever medium you choose, that cannot be ignored. It can never be ignored. No matter how much they try to suppress the truth, it will always come out. And the way you achieve that is through excellence. So perhaps next year, someone will have a better chance of it. But for now, we keep plugging away and doing what we have to do, because this is who we are. We're artists, and we know no other way.
Thank you for sharing that, Vivi. I love that. What advice would you like to share, or not even advice, but just what is on your heart that you'd like to speak to that I haven't asked, that you'd like to share with Baby here with us now?
Baby, every now and then, things are going to get pretty tough. And it may come from the outside, where it's someone doing something to you, or from inside, where you feel that something isn't quite right. What I've learned very recently is to try and connect to what's happening inside and outside. Take time to just feel yourself present and to be grateful to be alive, to be able to do the things you are doing, to be able to feel the sun on your face, the bark of a tree on your hand, the feeling of grass under your feet, to appreciate the things that people and mankind create and the gifts that nature continues to give us. My advice to you is that no matter whether things are going well or going poorly, always have a sense of gratitude. Always feel who you are, where you are, how you are. Because through that, there's clarity. And through that clarity, you can overcome and achieve anything. And that is my gift to you.
And Vivi, what can our child turn to you for? What conversations, what advice, what need, what can they turn to you for?
You can turn to me for shelter. You can turn to me for love and care. You can turn to me for inspiration. You can turn to me for a shoulder and an ear. Anything you need, you find me, you call me, and I will be there.
And lastly, what is your invitation to Baby? What would you like to invite them to consider, to do, to think about, to become? What is your invitation?
The world right now is full of people who have forgotten what it means to actually connect to another and to have a meaningful conversation with someone. So my invitation to you, Baby, and my challenge to you, frankly, is whenever you meet someone, look past what they are presenting to you and look inside to see who they are. Because in talking to someone and connecting to someone on that level, you will learn so much. You will experience so much. And life will become much fuller.
Vivi, I'm so grateful that you're a part of this. I'm so grateful you're a part of our world and our inner circle. And I cannot wait for you to meet Baby.
Nor can I. All right, Baby, come on. You're nearly there. Just a few more days. And we are ready and welcome to say hello.
Well, will you be coming to our baby shower?
I did receive the email about it. I may be working, but if I can sneak away early, I will make an appearance and say hello.
Can you hear Adora?
I heard that. I will do my very, very best. I've just been put on notice.
Okay, cool.
Fantastic.
Well, Vivi, first of many conversations you're going to be having with Baby. And I also am super excited that people are going to look back on this and the James Bond that you mentioned, and to see where, you know, your career goes, and that this will also be a wonderful archival document that people are going to look back on many years from now and just know that even before it all, you were amazing. Oh, here comes Adora.
Thank you, Tom. I appreciate that.
Oh, I love all this behind the scenes people are getting. If we could also connect for, we're going to need to move some things into storage so we have room for baby in the house. And with Adora's broken wrist, I would love your help if possible.
Let me know when and where, and let's make it happen.
Okay. Oh, this is a great one. I'm leaving all of this in.
Just leave it all in. Leave it all in. You know, let them all into the world of. You know what? This is how it all works. And yeah, it's such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. Much love to you both.
This is my dream. I can't wait for baby and me to go to one of your world premieres and for them to see on the big screen and cheer and all of that stuff in the audience. So I can't wait for that. That's one of the hopes I have for my child's life.
From your lips to the universe, I'm forever grateful and appreciative for you.
I mean. All right, Vivi. We'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye, Tom. Bye, Dora. Speak to you soon.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. It means the world to me. I want to thank my guests from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this episode, for offering their gifts to my daughter, to Jasmine, for being open and vulnerable and honest and so gracious with their time and their wisdom. I said it to you on the call when I was interviewing, but I want to say now, thank you from my heart so much. I hope you will stay tuned for next week's episode, where you are going to hear from 4 of my friends that I interviewed, and we sit down and I ask them different questions, some the same that you've heard this week. You're going to hear new perspectives, and then some new fresh perspectives that I asked people. Any feedback you have, anything you'd like to add on, any advice you'd like to share with Jasmine or me as a parent, tom@tomearl.com. That'd be so much appreciated. If you want to support the show, I invite you to become a member of the Celebration Academy. You can learn more by going to tomearl.com/courses. You can become a member for as little as $10 a month. You can support the show and get access to a ton of courses and professional development, leadership development, business development, resources at your fingertips. All right, my friends, I look forward to you joining us next week. Thank you. Peace and blessings. One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.